right. Welcome, everyone to Dynasty the Podcast Show. I am your host, Ira Bush. This is episode 44. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to everyone listening and tuning in. I appreciate y'all watching. What's up with you? What's up with you, man? I hope you're doing well, for real. Hey, that's we can do it tomorrow. I'm gonna hit you up for real after I get on for real. I'm gonna do well with you. This my guy, man. This the big man on campus. I'm gonna talk to you for real. You know I'm proud of you for real though. I'm very proud of him, man. That's one of my favorite players I ever got to coach. For real. He stayed consistent, guy. Yeah. Some of the main reasons I talk about this stuff is because I see how hard they had to work when they was young. So I gotta make sure I'm consistent too. So I'm back being consistent. I had to, let everybody mature. That's the main thing. But I'm still definitely in your corner, man. You know, I check on y'all. I don't try to do too much, but I'm definitely in your corner for sure. I'm proud of you. I'm glad you're still working. I'm glad you're still playing. But I'm gonna have to freestyle you when I get up. But for sure. But y'all know regular schedule players. We go, like I said, I saw a lot of people out. One of the main people I talked to, for sure, I thank you. I reference him plenty of times. This guy right here, I talk about him all the time. You know I do. He's one of the people I talk to since I tell y'all I volunteer a lot when I was younger in my teenage age, and he one of those young kids, probably the youngest in charge. So, and he definitely stayed committed. He definitely stayed solid. Definitely make sure y'all follow him. I know he be like that. Any kind of publicity good because he's still working towards his goals. So, y'all, anybody watching that's ghostly watching, that check in on the upcoming generation, he definitely somebody to stay tuned with. So, but today is big. We got to continue the executive orders. We have we got to go through. The guy from I know y'all. I talk a lot of politics on here. So we talk sports. You got the NBA draft that was last night. I didn't do enough research on the NFL. What you call it? So definitely, it's a big show. So we're finna get straight to it. First and foremost, I want to say this. When I talk to people about just having that mindset to go through things when you go to sleep and you stand in your element of not getting deterred from people attacking you when you sleep, or you're not in that your cognitive state fully. I talk about this all the time, and I feel a little, the fact that I speak on these things, it helps the younger people under me. It helps them speak to people under them. So this is the thing that I be trying to get at. You got to stay consistent. So, and I'm just happy somebody did. He chimes in. The funniest thing, I talk about all this, high level stuff, and I can't get too in detail with it unless you be around me. They know this how I speak. But I know people go through stuff just like I go through it. So I don't diss anybody like that. But I definitely gotta make sure, when you at your home base, because everybody, I talk about Florida all the time. It's not me speaking on the realness is gonna help heal the whole situation overall. So it might seem like I'm dissing and that, but I have to actually speak for my family as a man. Like I tell y'all on both sides, my mom, my mom's only son, and I'm one of the oldest and the more mature, most my intellectual property is valued on my dad's side. So either way, it's a value in both. Me being the oldest man on my mom's side, and as far as my grandmother's tree. And then on my dad's side, my intellectual property being valued. So, I talk about that stuff all the time. And that's that's why I said, I be speaking on those things all the time, and I have to continue my message. Now, to make the yesterday I had a basketball game, and I was this is my story definitely. And I forgot to say the word I forgot this. the main thing of my show was consistency. So the word that I picked to name the title of my of this show is basically being consistent. And this I don't know how it timed up perfectly. Like I said, the person who chimed in, they John McDougal, that guy is consistent. He don't give up. So and then I'm gonna talk to y'all about how the game went. Unfortunately I did not win the game yesterday, but I didn't expect, the team we played was rated as it's only a 14 league, it's a youth recreation league. It's 9 through 12. So the age difference is big and it's basketball. So y'all know if you choose basketball, your athletic ability has to be, your skill and athletic ability has to be somewhat of, it can't be decent. You gotta be able to work with something. And I got 5 kids that are 10 years and under, and there's only one 10-year-old in that group. Then it's 2 9-year-olds, and then 3 9-year-olds, and an 8-year-old. And the rest, I got 3 kids that's one's 11, one's 11, and there's 3 12-year-olds, and my 12-year-old is a female. So I don't have the experience that other teams have. So we're gonna have that building process go through. So I don't want to sound like I'm making an excuse, but I didn't expect them to, I didn't expect to lose, but I know it was going to be tough. And we unfortunately did not win. The thing that I knew we was going to have issues with is scoring. And we didn't score enough points. They when we scrimmaged them one time, we got beat real bad, and we were still like, that was probably our first practice that we had, as a team. And then yesterday, they gave up 10 points in the first quarter. Like the first 10 minutes of the game, I think it was like 8. Then they scored quickly on the second quarter, and it was 10. And then after that, defensively, we locked in. It probably was 8 points first quarter, and we didn't do well. And then the second quarter, it was 2 points, and then the fourth quarter they scored, very late in the game, So it was like the third quarter we shut them out. But we didn't score no points. So, I have not drawn a play up on the board yet. And I have not taught like the etiquette of a foreign play. They have to get used to being on offense and defense and stopping the guys and running fast break and not thinking as much before I can really teach the etiquette of a play. So I teach the basic of pick and roll. I don't have enough time with them to teach it every day because they have to get their shots up. This is the way the league is, the way basketball is. Length is important. You got to be able to shoot the ball from deep because, they get in the zones. You have to teach them shooting the ball is important. And, we don't have enough time to like do layup drills all day. It's going to be towards the middle where we start working on that game element of the game of driving because like they're still young. So shooting is important. And then when you're, how the game is being a shorter person, I just remember me being young. It's just like I used to actually play in the paint. So, and I shot mid-range shots. I never was intimidated by shooting that mid. My person that mentored me was like, when I give it to you, shoot. And I told my little sister the same thing. And I was talking to the kids. I say, the way they're playing, y'all, they looking for the block. They're not giving you space. So whenever you get the ball, I don't care where you at. Since we can't score, just shoot the ball so you have that confidence. And then, they started putting shots up better. We only got 1 point. We had 4 trips to the free throw line. I had 2 technicals. I had a technical and they got 2 free throws, but they didn't make either one. So, that was the ref was tripping yesterday. But I got the gist of, just being a new coach and, how to go. Everybody know each other and then you the new person and they try to give you the team. They had a team from last year, the players that they know, and then they give me the players that they don't really know or they won't. And then but I got to make what I make out of it, man. It was still fun. It was a learning experience. My team still had their heads held high. They still got confidence from, the experience of the game. They didn't feel defeated. So that was my main thing of that game because I expected that team to give us a very hard challenge. So, they didn't quit. They played defense the whole rest of the game when they got used to what I was asking for. Because it's crazy, like the people who scored points, it could have been lower. That's why I'm mad. I was a little bit mad because it shouldn't have been like I think it was like a little short point guard. She was like in there dribbling the ball. She got like 4 points, and I'm like, that's a erase. That's like 6-1, and it's going to the fourth quarter if we contain that person. She's not a bad player. She's just on the level of my 9 and 10 year old, so she has to be nullified. And then the guy that was the 12-year old, I expected him to get points, and he only had 4 points too. So I did a very good job of game planning because those are the two people that are their scores that they look scoring. And her older sister is really good, but she's not as consistent as her younger sister at shooting. And I noticed that she could shoot, she could score if she's open, and she's very calm about scoring. So I'm just giving y'all some gameplay on the community, what I'm doing in the community. So mind you, I'm just hype it's about this coaching, and I'm just excited. I could talk about the youngest because I ain't giving look. They got parents, so I ain't doing that much. But I'm just gonna talk about the game. So it was one of those moments. They learn they got to get better as a team, and I haven't. The teams that we play, I could tell that their coach they going through real plays and like assignments, and I just have to get them used to being aggressive and getting to them. They know the basics, but they still think a lot. So if they ain't thinking, they could start just once they get the logist. We don't. The thing I'm proud of my team about, we don't double dribble, we don't travel, and I'll call it out myself. The refs don't call it. I'll be like, hey, they travel, they double. So hey, it ain't never. That's my biggest thing of learning in the beginning. Is not double dribbling, not traveling, understanding passing, duck, bounce pass, and chest pass. All those little things like that. And we got a lot of good calls. So their player on their team, he got this. He'll go fast. I'm talking about he'll be probably dunking in a year or two span. So that's how good and athletic this 12-year-old is. But he'll get there and then he'll stop and then he'll take 2 steps back after the 1-2 step here. And I'm like, that's travel every time. So 2 of them points should have been nullified. Probably 4, like 2 of them definitely. That he got the one bucket he got. I was like, they called it a play before, then he did the same thing, then they didn't call it. So I was like, hey, I was getting on the refs and all. So yesterday I was in my mode of coach, and I was just like, yeah, I'm back at him. But it was too funny. But but nah, that being said, we're gonna get to it. The first thing, I was looking at I seen the Iran, ambassador or president, wherever they calling him over there. I'm not gonna get too much in depth into that no more because the way I see it, I talked about yesterday. What I led off with was what I stopped with besides the executive orders breakdown. I was talking about I could tell that the people in America that's doing media, that's over in politics, they want you to feed into being on Iran side of the couch as me against the real type of energy. And it's people putting out these clips that are having a sore loser mentality. I talk about it all the time. It's people out here that's in my age range that works for these people that are politicians that are want to get clout off of people like me with real influence to the community. So I talk about these things, and I ain't really giving that Iran Israel stuff any more attention. I'm gonna move on. I'm looking at a thing that just popped up. I try to go off my feeds. I am the type of person, if the story interests me, I'll report on it. I'll talk about it. And this seems a little bit more more on the scheme of worrying about America. I'm a big fan of Jasmine Crockett. I like the way she calls out people. I like the way she speaks. And she's like, Dodge hearing grinds to complete hope. Doge hearings grinds to a complete halt when Jasmine Crockett calls out the subpoena to subpoena Elon Musk. See, that's the type of stuff that we haven't. I didn't even get in because that relationship ended less than 100 days. I think they was getting all buddy when he wasn't president and he was running for presidency. And then once he got into presidency, somebody named Elon Musk realized I ain't no politician. I'm a billionaire. I want money. I want to continue to make money. And when you in politics, it's always somebody you think need to get money. and you always gonna be paying somebody because you're in a position of a chair. Your chair as the president, your chair is to make sure everything's running in order, and clearly that person is not in order that we have in the chair of presidency. And he realized that when he kept saying, well, this thing or that thing or this thing, and we got the big beautiful bill, and there was a bunch of hoax and fraud going on in that whole bill, and we still fighting to not get that passed on the military and then the lawyer, the real lawyers. I ain't say every lawyer, but the real law firms and the judges and the military is not going for that bill that they put out there. And then you got the Democrats that's in between, y'all going against the presidency, y'all putting y'all next up of politician, moving up a chain ladder of what your job is going to be, because once you be a politician, most people want to climb the ladder to a different type of success and to climb to a certain success. Some people are okay with their position at the end, but some people want to have the goal of being president one day. So just having that mindset and thought. Now I'm gonna probably play that video because that was yesterday, and they talked about him at the NATO summit. Like I said, I showed you what I was talking about. So yeah, and then we got a lot of sports stuff going on with the NBA draft. The thing I'm gonna talk about with the draft is, a lot of teams did trades during the draft yesterday. Their proposed trades, they're not finalized because the NBA finals was this last week. I think the league starts finalizing these things. I don't know. Okay, it's June. I think they started in like June. It's like around 4th of July weekend or something like that. They start letting everything be what it is. Because you remember when Katie and LeBron and them was doing switch their teams and stuff, they was doing it around that time. And that's when I remember everything being like on the finalization of switching teams. I know everybody know that they switch teams, but the finalization, because the NBA is way longer than, it's a way longer season in the NBA than it is in it's like 8 months for the NBA now. You got October, they start October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. That's like 9 months out of the year. So, they got to do all this stuff coincide week after week. It's actually pretty smart because, I think they give them more days, it's more spread out, more time off. And it's not good to not be, the way the NFL is, it's like a 6-month league kind of, because they start training in June. That's voluntary, and then July, August, and then it's half a year really. So it's not 8 months. It's less. It's still a lot of games to be played, but not everybody gonna make the playoffs. So yeah, it's mostly when you're a professional athlete, you got to put your body. Your body is like what makes money, and you have to take care of your body year round. So yeah. That's pretty much it. I got I didn't check in on, like I talked about, me. They had, Tuesday and Wednesday was the I could have went down to Broward for the meetings, but I'm gonna go next week, one of the days. And I don't really like going up there. I'm gonna check in on the Palm Beach County one too, because I'm gonna be in this area coaching as well. Probably, I'm gonna say probably. Just it all depends on how I feel and what works out. I'm never leaving myself. I'm putting myself in the best decision as a coach now, as a community leader. So whatever situation fits me best, that's what I'm gonna go with. And I'm definitely checking balancing myself. I do all the background checks. I ain't no little child, because I could tell you when I was 18, I was like, I'll tell coach, hey, just sign me up in the front office and read my ID. And now, I was just coming out of high school, so I wasn't looking at it like, and then the amount of money that they pay a head, even though I signed when I was 18, officially get my coach's certificate, my fire coach's certificate in Palm Beach County. And like I said, they did a lot of roundabout stuff in this county. And I'm not going in the past because I'm still in the county. It ain't like I'm, but I'm talking about me having that, how you say it, now if I sign up, it's not like I'm not I don't have it's just me worried about my family. Like I don't have a big group of people to have to, that torch has been passed. Like that's like a you building your enterprise. I'm still building, don't get it twisted. But like I be talking about, it's already people in place. There's already people like I already put some game all the way over here over there. It's already happened. It's not that time no more. So, if you come towards me, that's a different type of situation. So, and like I said, hey, when I call him today, it's gonna be funny with how he speak. I know he's more mature than he was, but he always been mature. But it's gonna be funny tomorrow. Hey, I know it's gonna be a lot of. He probably gonna tell me some. It's gonna be something good to speak on. So that's gonna be good. Um, the thing about I speak community. We're gonna go right into the I don't want to when it comes to politics. I get a little weird. So I'm gonna listen to it's a 10-minute one, but I'm gonna just listen to it. This was on the 24th of June, and that was 2 days ago. Correction, I said one day ago. So, and then we're gonna go into the executive order. Then we're gonna talk about the draft, and then we're gonna wrap it up there for the day. Cause I don't even have that much juice on my phone. I'm running low. I forgot my charger, so. Okay, so basically, I was just giving y'all, I haven't done enough research. Unfortunately, my live for Instagram, this my phone went dead. I forgot my charger when I left. But I just look at it like this. It's this they the people that have been in place don't have the experience. They're not experienced politicians. And I remember when he first ran for presidency, he wanted people that were for the people, who are not just robotic politicians. And I have that type of I don't mind that type of energy, but when you see how I'm just doing, I'm doing very light research. The research I'm not doing is the stuff that they sign into, the light research I'm not doing is the stuff that when he signs these executive orders, when he goes out here and do, you know, make this meeting and that meeting, I cannot do any, the only thing that I'm really worried about is, like I said, I'm doing my research and my foot on the ground is done for the basically for like my city, the city that I'm living in, the county schools that my children are attending. This is what I'm focused on. The other stuff that I speak on is surface, but it's not for me to go do the detailed work. It's for you to know what's going on and do the detailed work. So I'm speaking. This person, she's in Texas, but she's speaking on the Doge committee hearing. And what she's saying is these people in the Doge committee are trying to make cuts and trying to funnel money into other things that doesn't have the pure intentions that some of these other people do, or they don't have the experience of a real politician to make the correct decisions to even say they need cuts. They over here going off a billionaire who's already have this amount of money, who has this many companies, who has his hand in this many things to make him successful. And this is what he does. They put people out there and that they already paid off to do their dirty bidding, to do their underhanded bidding. And that's what that's basically an example where she was just going in at them. And they didn't even win that vote of what what I'm saying? It was just the fact that there's somebody out there speaking up. And that is appreciated because it's people out here selling people out. It's people that's out here in position. And hopefully there's going to be more no's in situations like this than yays if we actually have the people who are actually putting the information out there. There's people actually giving, there's somebody out there that cares, you know what I'm saying, that's fighting a good fight. So, that's all I'll be saying. I'll be trying to figure out, you know, this is a committee that he made, and this man has no political background. You know what I'm saying? He has monetary background, but he doesn't have no political background. So we got to figure out why these people are getting appointed with no political background. Like our Secretary of Education should not be in the position she's in, and I'm not saying she's not even asset toward the cabinet to help. That's just not the position she should have been in. But it was better than the person that they picked the first time. I can tell you that, or the person Biden picked. I think it was. I don't know. Both of them, they had some issue with that. I had a big issue with the person who was over education, and I'm not mad because they basically what she came in is to figure out where all these third person money problem issues that was happening. People putting their money in and thinking that we supposed to sell our children out because they're helping fund a public school system or help funding the FAFSA money in student loans. That was a big issue when they came and put these people put their hand in the pot. Well, threw their money in the pot. But some of this stuff is not good money. Some of this stuff is stolen money, stolen assets that they wanted to get rid of. So, I talked about that in some of my previous episodes, and that I do this. I do the reason why I know that those things happen is because I have children in the K through 12 public school education, and I had actually went back to school in 2021 and 20 and still currently I could still be considered a student. I took the summer off, and I don't know if I want to go back. I don't know if I want to subjugate myself to that. So it's all about having the right situation, the right people in these buildings, because some people are hiding, like I said, they throwing rocks and hiding their hand. That's the type of energy that people who are putting money into the education system is doing to try to make themselves have a clean face. It's not proper. Now, and it's been going on. Like I said, these education systems are forms of institutions. So we have to always remember that. Now, let's get this. I'm gonna pull this. These we're gonna continue the executive orders from June. We're gonna go through the rest of the pull it up. All right. Then this was going from the oldest one in June to the one that they signed on the 24th and 23rd. So this one was signed on 6/18/2025. And it says empowering commence wildfire prevention responses. Now, before I read this, I want to say this. I haven't I haven't tapped in like I did when I was younger, because I used to read the zoo books. I used to watch Planet, what it was called, Animal Planet, Wildlife, History, whatever. I was National Wildlife. I'm talking about I was deep in when I was younger. I used to watch this all the time. Me and my this is actually a family, like on my father's side. This is like we always into it. Like it was something that we did as like a family. We played the video game, went outside and played, and we watched Animal Planet and National Geographic for animals and stuff. So, and I did this also. The school I went through, K through, I think when I went to Frontier, I was second grade through fifth grade. And when I tell you, we learned about whales, the sharks. We did projects on them. We had competitions on them. We was in this school went year round, so all year round we went to the zoo. We went to all different types of exotic type of places to learn about animals. Like we went around the state of Florida, like our area, and we did a lot of stuff that had to do with the environment. And even before, when I went to that school, I went to school called Ponce de Leon, and I talk about this, in my other podcasts and other platforms I've spoken on. That was for me. I talked about how I had raised a caterpillar into, everybody got that project where they raised their caterpillar into a butterfly. And like, I swear, my butterfly stayed there for like I want to feel like it was 2 weeks. So I was like literally holding my butterfly, flying in the garden. He comes back and sleep and all that. So, and then I watched it grow. Everybody remember that caterpillar book and all that good stuff. So if you're my generation, and I can remember that stuff very vividly. And I was always in tune with Mother Nature. So I'm definitely, and I always talk about them destroying my orange trees in my neighborhood when they was poisoning. It was all over the news, and they made it seem like it was some random act. How you randomly destroy orange trees in Florida? That was somebody who governmentally wanted to control the orange juice, the orange crop. I just watched Trading Places, by the way. So stuff start adding up that they've been talking about. They wanted to control. So I'll be like, y'all got me messed up. So yeah. But let's read this executive order: empowering commence wildfire prevention and responses. The purpose of this: the devastating of the January 25 Los Angeles wildfire shocked the American people and highlighted the catastrophic consequences when the state and local governments are unable to quickly respond to such disasters in too many cases, including in California, and a slow, inadequate response to wildfire is a direct result of reckless mismanagement and lack of preparedness. Wildfires threaten every region, yet many local government entities continue to disregard, commence preventative measures. Firefighters across the country are forced to rely on the outdated technology and face challenges in quickly responding to wildfires because of unnecessary regulation and bureaucracy. The federal government can empower state and local leaders by streamlining federal wildfire capabilities to improve the effectiveness and promoting commenced technology and enable local strategies for land management of wildfire response and mitigation. Mitigation. Now, okay, I don't mind these types of executive order. This is not something that to try to control people. This is trying to help prevent certain things and try to like basically make sure things are safe because a lot of people lost their homes, lost valuable items. Some people probably had, insurance, but it still takes time to collect your insurance and get back reestablished. And I'm not mad at anything like this that's going to help the people. So probably this executive order won't be an issue when people that are that have to check and balance these types this this the people check and balancing the executive orders, they're not going to have an issue passing this into law and stuff. So or confining to this. So I don't have an issue with this. Hopefully it doesn't get out of hand where people go to stealing when it's not a wildfire per year, and they do stuff like what I'm saying. So hopefully it goes to the technology, the updated versions of securing areas that are in danger that have wildfire issues. So that's I have a problem with this one at all. The next one, implement the general terms of the United States America United Kingdom Economic Prosperity Deal. Okay, the United Kingdom of Great Britain and North Ireland Economic Prosperity Deal, general terms. Now, I don't know which side my good friend from Ireland, but I did make a good friend from Ireland, and he does very good work as his job, and he's very young. Mind you, he completed college. He got his. I think he got his. I believe he. I know he got. I believe he had his master's degree, or he completed it while he was 24, 25. I worked with him in summer camp. I consider him a friend. He invited me to his home. I used to hang with him when he was still in school. He's coming back and forth from school. I don't diss people like this who are educated, and also me and him. I like sports like he likes sports. You know what I'm saying? It was like it was a late friend, but I could still consider him a friend. And he's still out there. He. I would say he is involved in. His job is a very I consider it a job that's worthy to speak on, and it's not like he's not going out here. He actually has the job of making sure soldiers are doing things properly, and he has the job of making sure whatever area he's stationed at, and that he has to make sure they're doing things correctly, and he earned that via education, and he had to train as well, and he also has a lot of experience in the community. So I consider him a friend. I met his mom and father, his mother and father. They invited me into their home, so I consider him a friend, and we work together as well. So and he met my mother as well. So I look at those as being very important. I can honestly say that might have been my last, me having a friendship, and me knowing that I won't go against that person. Even, I talk about this all the time when people have goals of their own. I don't, I can't waver back and forth from you being my friend and not being my friend. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to trust some people, and I don't mind how people earn, but this person, he's pretty legit to me, from my point of view. And I still want to go to Ireland one day and be treated like, I'm famous, because I know you hear him talk about it all the time. So I'm definitely going to eventually get to go up there and see it. But America caused a lot of havoc and strife in the government, and you still got to do your checks and balances as a citizen here. And people frown upon United States of America all the time because of the way we handle military, the way we handle people of color, and it's just what it is. And we're gonna move on from there. But let's continue. Let's read out loud what this executive order is about. And if I had my Money better with something. He, like I said, he tied into a lot of this stuff. So, hopefully, I ain't even, he might, he might have had some people draw something up for him. But we're gonna read it out loud. And, if it sounds good, I'm an honest person. I'm like, that sounds actually, profitable. Sounds correct for safety and da 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 da. I'm with him. So, let me read it out loud. The background on May 8th. Let me read the whole thing because it might be very important in the future. By the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and laws of the United States of America, including the International Emergency Economic Powers Act 50 USC 1701, the National Emergency Act, Section 232 Trade Expansion Act of 1962 as amended, and Section 604 of the Trade Act of 1974 as amended, and the Section 301 of Title III United States Code, I hereby determine and order. Section 1. Background on May 8th, 2025, United Kingdom Prime Minister Keir Starmer and I announced the general terms for the United States of America and the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland Economic Prosperity Deal. The general terms outline the historic trade deal that provides American companies unprecedented access to British markets while bolstering the national security and economy of the United States. The deal includes billions of dollars increased in market access of American exports, especially for beef, ethanol, and certain other American agricultural exports. In addition, the United Kingdom will reduce or eliminate numerous non-tariff barriers and unfairly discriminate against American product, hurt the United States manufacturing base, and threaten the national security of the United States. The general terms provide, among other things, that the United States intend to create annual quota of 100,000 vehicles for United Kingdom automotive imports at the 10% tariff rate in the security of supply chains of steel, aluminum products, intended for exports to United States and nature ownerships and relevant production facilities. Provided the United Kingdom meets these requirements, the United States intends to promptly construct a quota of most favored nation rates in steel, aluminum articles, and certain derivative steel and aluminum articles that are products of the United Kingdom in the context implementing the general terms. Furthermore, the general terms, the United States and United Kingdom committed to negotiate significantly pre-fermental treatment outcomes of pharmaceuticals and pharmaceutical ingredients that are products of the United Kingdom, contingent of finding an investigation regarding pharmaceuticals and pharmaceutical ingredients under Section 232, and provide the United Kingdom complies with certain supply chain security standards. Finally, general terms and United States and the United Kingdom commitment to adopt structured, negotiated approach of addressing United States national security concerns regarding sectors that may subject the future Section 232 investigation. To the end of the United Kingdom further committed to strengthen the aerospace and aircraft manufacturing supply chains by establishing tariff-free bilateral trade in certain aerospace products. In my judgment, I determined the following actions are consistent with national interests of the United States and necessary to appropriate to deal with the national emergency declared in Executive 14254, April 2nd, 2025. Regulating imports with reciprocal tariff to recertify trade practices that contribute large and persistent annual United States goods and trade deficits, amend to reduce and eliminate threats of national security found in Proclamations 9704, March 8, 2018, adjustments imports aluminum in the United States as amended Proclamation 9705, March 8, 2018, as amended Proclamation 9888, May 17, 2019. Now, let's see what that one is. I'm going to that executive order. Now, the biggest thing for this is I realized, okay, it's like a changing of the guard. You know, Great Britain did not win the first time, if you get what I'm saying. And I think Great Britain and Ireland definitely been working hand in hand. And that's probably considered the one of the main red sides in the whole, them losing the war. The Confederate was the person that they were deemed the part that did not win, but they actually combined. So they had their red colors, and Ireland. I don't know exactly their colors. Don't beat me up. I'm not from Ireland, so I'm just talking about how they made the agreement with how they was working with them, and after the agreement of the Constitution and the war ended. Now that I'm just jogging my memory. I don't have the actual history book here. I'm looking at it like this. America has been basically London, whoever came up with the identity of the United States in London, their side, and they beat Britain out to have control of the United States. That's basically the two main European countries that was fighting in the beginning that had to come together and work together. And both, it was Native people and African descended people here. They began, it was slaves always, it was already a slave trade before everything was combined and put together. That's how the country was starting to form up, anyways. So, you kind of had to pick a side. You kind of had to pick, come to an agreement to work together. And, they basically trying to put it over into the, it's like they trying to, London, like I said, it's the United Americas. That's basically the Ireland. And that's basically who came up with. To me, that's how it looks to me. Might be more of opinionated. This might be more of a theory, but it looked like that's the two people that came together to form the LLC, United Americas, instead of United States of America, because it's already, the energy has shifted. Now, what they cannot forget when they making these agreements is the black and brown people that are already established on this land. Y'all cannot do like I was talking about yesterday. You can, like Representative Al Green was speaking on. Just because y'all stake claim to a land, that don't mean y'all supposed to be in power. That don't mean y'all don't mean y'all outrank the people who actually supposed to be fueling it, the land. Just the land, not building on it, just fueling it, keeping it in order, maintaining it. Y'all cannot step over these people because y'all have certain kind of, y'all created a dollar, and y'all was the originals of the United States American dollar, or y'all stole this amount of gold and diamonds from different countries, or whatever they may think in their mind to feel like they're empowered. Now, I'm not dissing. I'm just giving y'all what y'all gonna fail at is what London gonna fail at, and we're not going down another 260, 50 years of dumb crashing of European whites. And not being funny, and I try my best not to. I already spoke on how white supremacists and Ku Klux Klan have deteriorated even the face of the United States of America in the whole general. So we're gonna try to steer away from that. We're gonna try to put the right people in the position to lead. So this is Executive Order 14254, April 2nd, 2025, what they highlighted at the end. I, Donald Trump, this is what he wrote. I, Donald Trump, president, or whoever he typed up, what he was saying, and he was copying bar for bar for what he was saying. I, Donald Trump, president of the United States of America, find the underlying condition, including lack of and this is the executive order is called regulating imports with reciprocal tariff to rectify trade practices that contribute large and persistent annual United States good and trade deficits. Now, it says, let me continue reading. Including lack of reciprocity in our bilateral trade relationships. This desperate tariff rates and non-tariff barriers and U.S. trading partners' economic policies that suppress domestic wages and consumption, and indicated by large persistent annual U.S. good trade and deficits constitute an unusual and extraordinary threat to national security and economy of the United States. The threat has its source whose hold substantial part of outside the United States and domestic economic policies of key trading partners and structural imbalance in the global trading system. I hereby declare the national emergency with respect to this threat. On January 20th, 2025, I signed the American First Trade Policy President presidential memorandum directing my administration investigating the causes of our country's large and persistent annual trade deficit in the goods, including the economic and national security implications and risks resulting from such deficit, and undertake a review of identity and unfair trade practices by the countries. On February 13, 2025, I signed the presidential memorandum. Yada yada yada. I ain't gonna read all this. This is too much. Now you can read this yourself. This sounds very one of those. This is like one of these executive orders where he needed to make sure this is what needed to happen for his company, not for anybody, and everybody else that's considered in his level of business. So, y'all can read this yourself. I read the executive order out. He's basically trying to go into detail about the rules and regulations on how and why, he's going to protect his goods that he has in the import business. Now, y'all can feed into all that if you want. I don't have, a ton of as of now, I don't have a ton of interest into all that. I don't mind the deal, the one when we get back focused to the American United. Like I say, they shifted from being under the thumb of London and whoever else is with London, and they're trying to make a deal with the United Kingdom, which is Britain and Ireland, and the United States of America, which is London. They're trying to put everybody in their place and trying to basically rank who's who and what is what. So that's basically how I look at that whole thing. And I just went down what I felt about it. You can take what you want. You can look into it yourself. You can read all the sections out and see what it is. This is the last and final one. And I'm at 50 minutes. We're gonna get to the draft. I'm not gonna go through every single. I'm gonna get through this one. Further extending the TikTok enforcement. That's what the enforcement delay. The enforcement delays specified in Section 2A Executive Order 14168. Well, y'all remember they shut down TikTok. So that's the executive order for that, to reinstate TikTok in the United States of America. Extended executive order further extended to September 17, 2025. During this period, the Department of Justice shall take no action to enforce the Protecting Americans on Foreign Advisory Control Application Act or impose penalties against any entity for any non-compliance with the act, including distributing and maintaining or updating of any foreign advisory control application defined in the act. In light of this direction, even after the expiration of the above specified period, the Department of Justice shall not take any actions to enforce the act to impose penalties against any entity for any conduct or that occurred during the above specified period prior to the issuance of this order, including the period of the time from January 19, 2025 to the date of this order. So they basically extended what they was talking about in January when they shut it down, and for a day. And I look at it like this. I know TikTok is one of those. This is one of the biggest controlled. When people say control your mind, and say, well, you are what you eat, you are what you see. Your brain is like, it goes off what you see, kind of, and whatever you eat is how you're gonna feel. and and it's so much influence on that entity of TikTok, and they trying to say that they're not going to control TikTok, but the only way, the people who form TikTok are not Americans, so it's a foreign. Basically, let you know it's a foreign group of people who are over this company. I'm pretty sure they are branched out to make it Americans involved. I don't think they that they're not that, what I'm saying? It's branches of it probably already. It's that big. So, you can make money off of it, but it's just it comes with nothing's free. So, when you are putting your energy into something like TikTok, they feel, we got there's people that was complaining about certain things the way TikTok is. So that's all I can say. I can diss TikTok, but I ain't really stunned it because my channel on TikTok not bad. My For You page not bad. I don't follow everybody. I keep up track. I keep in touch with my family with social media, so it's not that big of a deal to me. So that's basically it for that. Now that's it for I'm glad we don't have too many executive orders. People not throwing their weight around, power around. They have other bigger plans, bigger things going on. Now let me look. No, we're gonna go right into sports. Now the key thing, I can't even. I'm probably gonna do a bigger, like a little special. The key thing that went on yesterday, the number one pick overall was Cooper Flag. It was expected. I didn't. I can understand. I look at the way that college, you gotta kind of watch the game to even. I don't even want to go too much into it. I'll probably do a little bit like a special on Saturday when the whole thing is drafted. I was gonna go round by round, but it's better that I'll take time out on the weekend and just like go through the whole thing. Now the fact that the season is over, um, I do like. Okay, I'm gonna go through just the first two picks. Cooper Flag, I'm not as high as everybody is on him. I don't know if the Mavericks is trying to make their team all white or something. They just traded away Luka Doncic. I think how the lottery pick ball system. I don't know how they luckily get these replaced. They replaced the stars with giving them the number one pick or whatever. They did it multiple times. But I actually think it's a good fit for him because he got Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving. So the position was a field that needed to be. He plays slightly different from Luka. He's more. He goes to the rim a lot more explosive at the rim. So him, that switch up, he can actually shoot the three as well, and he's not more. He can facilitate a little. He doesn't lack in for being able to facilitate. But he got Kyrie Irving, and you got Anthony Davis, who both are skilled at passing. One from the block, one from at the point at the top of the key. And I think he'll fit way better than Luka did with Kyrie and Anthony Davis. Kyrie just read up. He instead of taking the $43 million, he signed 3 years for took $3 million less than he would have made this year, 3 or 4 million less than he would have made to sign a 3 year extension. So I don't hopefully Kyrie stays healthy and Anthony Davis stay healthy. They got a nice the fact that both of them have won championship, both have played with LeBron. They got that winning pedigree and being on championship teams, and they could easily be on the comfortable from number one pick to the number 30th pick in the draft next year, just with the talent they got with them three guys. And that's pretty much it for them. Now the second pick, San Antonio is building their team nicely. They drafted Dylan Harper. Dylan Harper's dad is Ron Harper. His mom was a coach. They reported on those things. I did not know all these players. I did not know Ron Harper's son was even. I'm not looking into it, but I'm a Lakers fan. I remember Ron Harper playing for the Lakers and they, winning the championship with him on the team. And he's one of those. He was one of those veteran. He got drafted. I think he was a very high draft pick. So his son being drafted second was not. It comes from the lineage, it comes from the DNA of, you being a primetime player and being a winner. So, that's going to help them with Wimby, the young wing guards and threes that they have. They have good depth on that, and him getting added to the guard position. I think they're gonna have a nice season. They're gonna easily be probably a playoff team next year as well. It's a changing of the guard, definitely in San Antonio. So new coaches, new players, young players. It's gonna be good. That's a winning tradition, over there in San Antonio. The other team that I believe, that really helped themselves was the trade to Phoenix. The center, come on from the I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't want to butcher it. Come on from Duke, the center. I think that was a great, them getting all them draft picks, getting a player like him. They got, the other center from Hornets. I just like the fact that what they did in the draft was pretty solid. So that's all I'm gonna speak on. Far as the NBA, I gotta really go through every player and rate them and do it properly. So let me look through the rest. Memphis did a good job as well. They drafted a I don't want to say his name wrong. Young, okay, traded to Phoenix. Memphis did a good job of Phoenix did a good job, and Memphis drafted Cedric Coward. I liked it. I liked that pick. And like I said, Phoenix actually got they actually got Yang Hassan. So Phoenix did a good job, and Memphis did a good job as well. So those probably, and I got to look through the rest. Those were some of the key things that I seen last night that I was like, they did a good job drafting. So that's pretty much it. I gotta look more into all the players. So, I think Brooklyn had a ton of draft picks last night as well. So they probably ended up hitting on a couple of those guys. So those are probably my top team that did a really good job in the draft last night. So we're gonna look through it this weekend more in depth. And yeah, that's pretty much it now. I didn't watch the game last night. For baseball, the Rays are on a nice streak. Like I said, Yankees ended up winning, so they still one game behind. The pitching had another shutout. That's pretty much it for sports. Like I said, I'll be trying to keep this under an hour. I went over an hour yesterday, but it's a lot to be said in politics. I still know football is still rounding out. There's so many trades that happened yesterday. Players moving, drop picks was moving for NBA. I got to do a little bit more into depth. And I ain't really stressing that right now. It's a lot to be spoken on in the world. So yeah, and tomorrow probably gonna be a nice it's gonna be pretty solid. I'm gonna have one of my boys, my young man now from just know him for a long time. So I'm gonna reach out to him this evening this afternoon. See, he can come on tomorrow or whenever he can. It might be better if he come Saturday, but I'm gonna talk to him today about it. He chimed in on my live for Instagram. I do not follow a lot of people. I tell you, they locked me out my Instagram with all of them on there. It's more than just him, but it got weird with the it's right before COVID, all that stuff happened. All that stuff been happening to me, so they know I'm alive and well. That I don't feed into that type of energy. I have to protect myself so I can protect my family, and they knew that's something I talked to them about when they was young, so they know what it is. But thank y'all for listening. I am your host, Ira Bush. This is Dynasty the podcast show. And let me get this. And then I will talk to y'all tomorrow. We'll be here around the same time. Enjoy y'all day.